So there are lots of people in the UK who haven't really thought of it. It's definitely something that's not caught on in the UK, but is a big part of the American holiday season, and that is Thanksgiving. I just remembered that I've got access to US IPTV, so I thought I'd have a look around to see what difference it makes to the broadcast networks in the US this holiday. So it's also the World Cup as well, which they're also showing in the US. I've noticed that the Fox network is showing the games live. I'm not really a fan of this World Cup, even if I was into football, just because I think it's kind of corrupt, and a lot of people have actually died to create the infrastructure for the World Cup. Obviously, in the Middle East, in Qatar, and the reason why they can't hold it in the summer is that the temperatures climb to 45 degrees or more, and that's actually claimed a lot of lives of people working on the stadiums and various things that are bringing money to the country. And of course, it is held in winter when there's ordinary football on as well. So you're seeing a bit of a mix of those sports, the usual Premier League, and over in America, the usual football games that you get in Thanksgiving. So it's a little bit earlier. I think it's especially for the West Coast, where it's 8 hours behind the UK. You can see that it's still in the daytime schedule. So on this IPTV, it's a bit touch and go as to what streams will work, but you can get a lot of affiliate feeds of the main American networks of the ABC, CBS, NBC, and the Fox networks, and the PBS, and so on. And you can get the individual network feeds for these for various cities and things, so it's quite interesting. Looks like that's one of the ABC soaps. Easier to see this list of what's on, and you can see that Thanksgiving is mentioned there, and it's influenced the schedule on the ABC network and CBS. So we can't get a guide for this, but that is clearly a Thanksgiving thing. I think it's the might even be the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade, and I saw that NBC was taking that live as well. So families get together, they all eat together. I mean, I know that happens at Christmas anyway, and then it's pretty traditional for there to be football on Thanksgiving as well. So you can see that that's on one of the US networks, but they do show it an awful lot anyway. If you look at a US network like CBS at the weekend, they do have a lot of football games on, American football games on. Fox does, for example. So this is West Coast here, California, Fox 2. You have to have a bit of patience. Sometimes it takes a long time to come on. It doesn't work in some cases. I generally find that the Fox 5 New York feed comes on, so I'll try and get that and see if what that's showing. It was showing just before. It was showing live World Cup football. So it looks like Fox is the network to be showing this World Cup over in the United States. So this is obviously organised by the two-letter state names there. So we obviously need NY, and I'll see if I can get hold of it. So we've got a lot to go down to, fairly comprehensive, but not all of them are going to play there anyway. So there you go. Look how many states there are before we even get to New York. North Carolina, that's it, North Dakota, Nebraska, New Mexico, Nevada, and finally New York. So Fox 5, yes. There you go, it is showing. It was showing the World Cup football if I was doing it before, and you would see what their graphics look like. And now they're back to NFL programming, just following that straight away. And then there's an entertainment show there, so you can see that as well. That's kind of what they're showing. And I'll just see if I can see. We've seen what's on ABC. That was a Thanksgiving parade. CBS was American football. Fox was showing the World Cup game, and then it was only going to go into more American football following that. So just football all round. Just a chance to see the. I think it might have even originated in England originally, wasn't it? The soccer game, that as they call it, that originated in England, going right on to the American one later in the day, with the World Cup going to their local games. So let's just see if I can find. Let's see, ABC. Yeah, that's showing the local. It looks like it might actually be. Looks a lot more than New York State. That doesn't it? Looks like it's. No, it is just New York State now. Local news and weather there, and then you get the schedule. You can see that doesn't really look too much of a different schedule there, but it does on this NBC. This is the New York affiliate, NBC4. these were all broadcast from the top of the World Trade Center, which is bad. And then they had to move to the Empire State Building once the 9/11 happened as well. So that's right in the heart of New York is where they're transmitted from. They still are right now. So you've got the 96th annual. So with quick maths, that is what, 2022, 1926. So it's obviously that this Macy's Thanksgiving parade has been going on since 1926, and then you've got that's going further more into the tea time. A bit later on at tea time, which must be right in the middle of where all the families are meeting up in the Thanksgiving tradition. So they've got that on. They just got on news there, and then they've got football night going through to the evening on this one. So there's a lot of football, and then the special parade. So the only other thing I could check out here is that on this IPTV thing, these channels are kind of like you've actually got American cable or satellite streamed over the internet, and a lot of the main networks are there. So just to pick a couple of big stations that are not the main public networks, let's just see if they are influenced by today being Thanksgiving. It's fairly easy to remember when Thanksgiving is. It's the 4th Thursday in November, and in Canada it's something like the 4th, I'm not sure if it is though, the 4th Thursday in October or something like that. Well, that's a pretty good, nice choice there on this one on CBS. They've got a showing of The Wizard of Oz during Thanksgiving evening there, and I know that this network shows Friends. I've noticed it showing The Big Bang Theory, so it's obviously very similar to E4 in this country then, isn't it? Except that now in this country, you've got Friends showing non-stop on our version of Comedy Central. I could check out what their version is showing of that. TNT, yeah, it looks like they're in holiday mode with that schedule there. They've got Elf, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and a showing of that recent Rocket Man film right there. And we've got this channel there, the Turner Classic Movies. TV Land, yeah, that shows, I've noticed that's showing King of Queens on it. So let's see what else might be some of their biggest channels. And yeah, they do seem to be influenced by it being, that one might not work, obviously, let's see, by it being Thanksgiving today. So they bring Black Friday over because that was an American thing, just because by pushing that they can make a lot of money, but they don't bother doing that with Thanksgiving just because they don't make money from it. So that's kind of sad, isn't it? And they've got their version of Comedy Central. I bet it's better than ours, just showing Friends over and over again. I think it is. They're showing The American Office, and that's all they're showing for Thanksgiving. Episodes of The American Office, which has got far, far more episodes than the British Office series had. It's got 9 seasons. You can see them all on Prime Video, I think. So there is the Fox-owned channels. I guess, I don't know, I wonder if these now are owned by Disney. This FXX one does show a lot of The Simpsons. So it looks like showing a lot of it right there. And that entertainment channel there, FX. So I'm only noticing the Thanksgiving sort of holiday effect on a few of these. Well, definitely that one, although it looks more Christmas festive themed on that one than it does just Thanksgiving. That's a channel that we've lost in the UK. They brought the Lifetime channel over here. It was a bit lackluster even compared to what the US network was like, and it's now closed. So yeah, the USA network, that's quite a big one. This network is the network that brought you Monk, that series, that crime drama, that one where he's almost like he's got a form of autism. Yeah. So yeah, you can see Harry Potter films is all they're showing on that. So yeah, although Christmas is probably bigger, well, it might not be. It looks Thanksgiving is one of the biggest public holidays of the USA. and it's also a Canadian tradition as well. So the only other thing I could just check out is does it influence any of these factual channels here? Doesn't seem to be that many of them, given that there's Discovery, history and science and all that. But no. Although their equivalent of the same channel is just called Science. Pretty good service. You can flick through the channels pretty quickly. There's the USA Premium Movie channels as well. So they're the sort of equivalent of the Sky Movies channels that we have here. They're called Sky Cinema now, aren't they? But over there are groups of channels from HBO, Stars. Doesn't look like as complete a list as it used to be. It does have quite a few. There's the main HBO, which isn't just movies. It has a lot of original series, that they did Game of Thrones, they did Curb Your Enthusiasm as well, so they're not just premium movies, but there's a heck of a lot of, looks like it's episodes of a series that we can see, or we've been able to see on the BBC for free there, His Dark Materials. I think it was a co-production with them, like the Outlaws series that was written by Stephen Merchant. I think that was a BBC and HBO co-production, that one. So that's why you've got that on there. And yeah, that kind of looks like Billy Elliot or something, but I'm not sure if it actually said it was, or what if it was that. But yeah, I don't think you'd be able to really tell it was Thanksgiving, particularly from these movies being shown here, like Mrs. Doubtfire, for example. But of course it might be. And you've got the USA Kids channel. So you've noticed on Sky the section's looking a little bit bare now, I would say. Like it's not, it's because the Disney channels are no longer there. So the main pay channels that are left are the Nickelodeon set of channels and the Cartoon Network set of channels, and then you've got CBBC, CITV, and sort of the pop channels. I think the situation's a little bit better in the US, although this isn't a very long list compared to what it was, because there is also Nick Music and Teen Nick in the Nickelodeon collection, but for some reason this server doesn't seem to have the full list it used to have, so it's not exactly a great example. But and also the linear Disney channels do still broadcast in the US as well. So I kind of wonder why they had to close, and if they wanted to take it to Disney Plus, why didn't they just keep the linear channels within Disney Plus? I think that might have been a better idea, but they've got Disney Plus in America, but they have still kept the linear channels running anyway. And the linear Disney channel is still on air in Germany as well. Disney Channel Deutschland. So, and there's a set of them here, so they seem to be there. Disney XD, that used to be Jetix in the UK, didn't it? And Fox Kids, that's still there. Out of these, we've got Nickelodeon, we've got Nick Jr., Nicktoons, and the main Nickelodeon. And a couple of spin-offs from them, but we don't have Teen Nick, which actually isn't running anyway on this. And we don't have that one either, Universal Kids, but apparently there is going to be a new Sky branded kids channel which is going to launch as a linear channel next year, Sky Kids. So yeah, that's just a quick look round to see what they've got on with Thanksgiving. Actually, I was going to conclude it there, but I just remember you get Canada, don't you? Let's just see if you still do, because although it's not Thanksgiving in Canada today, so it won't matter. You do get some Canadian channels on this, such as the main CBC channel. And an obvious one to try is the feed in Toronto. And you can see that there's, although the channels are not coming up, it shows Coronation Street on it. There it is at midnight, but it's, I think, is it 5 or maybe 6 hours earlier in Canada. They've got that, that's where it's shown in Canada, and then you've got more UK programmes seem to be shown in Canada. Down in America, like Call the Midwife there is a good example, and Dragon's Den. But there is a BBC America channel in the US showing Actually, it doesn't show much British content. It's ridiculous. And PBS does show quite a few BBC shows as well. Actually, just check that as well. Let's check this BBC America out, if it's still on this server, because it is a ridiculous one. It was showing things like Star Trek. You'd think all they'd want to showcase is BBC content, but that's an American film right there. Interview with the Vampire, but it's got some British stuff. Obviously, Top Gear. Actually, it's about the only British thing in that list there. So that is, I don't know what the point of BBC America is exactly, to be honest. And people in America, well, they've commented online to say what a ridiculous channel it is as well. Because what is the point in having that if it's not going to showcase British content on it for Americans? Well, because it doesn't, and it's just showing American content on a BBC branded channel to Americans. I don't see what the point of that is. Oh well. So that's it. Happy Thanksgiving, and yeah, I just wanted to show you what was going on in American telly to actually reflect that holiday.